guys, it's Tracy from MeatRx. I'm here today with Robyn. She's a coach with MeatRx, and she's going to tell us about her success story. Hi, Robyn.
Hey, Tracy. Great to see you again.
Thank you for coming. And can you start out by telling us what your life was like prior to Carnivore?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. Love sharing. I just want to get the word out to so many people. If it's okay, we can take a step, like one step back before Carnivore, because I was keto before Carnivore, and I really feel that I need to give keto credit where credit was due. So before keto, I was, since I was a teenager, serial dieter. I realize now I was never that overweight, and actually probably as a teenager wasn't overweight, was certainly never obese. But I always wanted to be skinny like everybody else. And so I have been on a diet, in my mind it was everybody else. I have been on a diet since I was probably 14 years old or before. And, it was the standard low fat, high carb. I was an athlete, I exercised, but I struggled because I also developed a binge eating disorder along the way. So all of my good, low fat, all that kind of stuff, I undid it all when I would have binge eating episodes. And as an adult, it actually got worse. And in my early 30s, I was still, dealing with all of that. And I'm 46 now, by the way. In my early 30s, I started to get really sick. And I ended up being diagnosed with 5 autoimmune diseases. And, I had migraines for years. I was still binging, exercising like a fiend, eating low fat or not eating at all, and just, struggling. So, doctors, as they are, told me that autoimmune diseases were incurable, which everybody knows that, and there was nothing you can do. And I ended up on 24 different prescription medications every day, daily. Half of them were to counteract the side effects of the other half, of course. And that would manage my flare-ups. So maybe I'd have 3 a year instead of 4. And it was still pretty miserable. Single mom, still had to work, I had no choice. So fast forward about 5 years into the autoimmune stuff and still having the migraines, I had daily stomach aches for 30 plus years and 24/7. Some days were worse than others, but they were bad. Still binge eating. And I heard of this diet that I hadn't tried yet. It was keto. I didn't start keto for any health reasons because autoimmune diseases and all this stuff, they're incurable and there's nothing you can do about it. So I was told. Started keto to lose 20 pounds. And I tell you, for the first 6 months, I didn't lose 1 pound. And I was angry because everybody loses weight on some diet, at least in the first few days. It's not sustainable, but come on. So the only reason I stuck with keto for the first 6 months was because I was angry. And I was determined to make this stupid diet work because apparently it works for everybody else. About 6 months in, I realized that I hadn't had a flare-up, an autoimmune flare-up in like 6 months, which was scary to me because I figured that probably meant the next one was going to be bad. And 5.5 years later, I'm still waiting. I've been on 0 medications for over 5 years. So, and my migraines went away. So fast forward 3 years into keto, my stomach aches were still there and I was still binge eating because binge eating on keto foods is still binge eating, right? Which I lied to myself for a while about that. So I don't binge eat anymore. But eating 2 huge jars of almond butter and stuffing fat bombs into your face until you're sick, that's still binge eating. So I decided to try this carnivore thing, not for any health reasons, because the doctors told me that my stomach aches were just, it was who I was, and I accepted that. Keto did so much for me that I just went ahead and accepted that I would always have a stomach ache, always, and that I would always be a binge eater. Because if keto didn't cure it, nothing would.
Would you want to share what your autoimmune diseases were? If not,
sure. I have, and again, I don't know if I still have them or not. I still have the antibodies, but it doesn't matter because they don't affect me at all. I have lupus, Epstein-Barr, HS, Raynaud's, Sjogren's. They throw in like fibromyalgia, and I don't even count that stuff because that's just, they throw it in just for fun, I guess. So yeah, flare-ups for me would be an Epstein-Barr flare-up. I would have 104 fever for 5-6 weeks. With medication, maybe it would be 101 for 4 weeks. So better, but still there. But yeah, keto took care of all of that. But I still had the stomach aches. I still had the binge eating. But again, I accepted that. I'm okay. Keto did so much. Obviously, keto's magical. So in April of 2018, for some unknown reason, oh, by the way, I did lose the weight and just stopped losing when I was supposed to, and it hasn't moved since. So in April of 2018, just over 2 years ago now, I said, I wonder what would happen if I stopped eating vegetables and nuts and nut flours. And I'm not even sure I had heard of a carnivore diet. I mean, obviously it was out there, but I was so focused on keto being the end all be all. I'm not sure exactly why I did it. Not for any health reasons, just, I don't know, give it a shot.
Sounds
What
like,
happened?
were you trying to upgrade the keto diet a little bit? Trying to make the keto diet better by eliminating those things?
I don't even know. I think it was, I'm very big on self-experimentation. And don't judge me, but I had like log books. I don't do it anymore, but I had log books of like, what does this food do to me? Glucose, ketones, and I'm always experimenting with, higher fat, higher protein. I love that stuff because I just like to know things. So I think this just may have been another experiment. So I decided back in April of 2018, let's just try eliminating the nuts, nut flours. I wasn't even thinking meat only or animal product only. I was just thinking, let's just not eat these other things for like a week, because everybody knows that you have to have vegetables, right? I mean, you have to. They're good for you. You'll die without them. I knew that. That's smart. So what happened was on day 2 of what I now know to be a carnivore diet, I woke up, no, don't joke. I woke up in the morning and I went, something's wrong. I mean, I actually got nervous. Something's wrong. I don't feel right. Something's wrong. And it took me a minute. I don't have a stomach ache. This is probably the first time in 30 some odd years that I didn't have a stomach ache when I woke up. And it really scared me because I had accepted that that's who I was. So what is going on? And it's been over 2 years carnivore and I haven't had that stomach ache since. And I also don't binge eat anymore. Like the thought, the eating disorders are, they're a compulsion. The compulsion's just gone. I can't explain it. It just is. So I gave up on the, we need vegetables, because I realize now with all, the years of learning, I've been studying this. I'm like, wait a minute. Not only do we not need them, but they're probably not real good for us either.
Yeah. Yeah, the binge eating, I never called it binge eating for myself, but I know that if I ate carbs and sugar, I was constantly craving. And I think a lot of times it was just, I didn't get the nutrients I needed from those crazy foods I was eating.
Yeah. So it's been just, I mean, I don't honestly believe that, a steak is going to cure everything. And I think a lot of it is, and I don't think everybody actually needs to be carnivore. And there's, they're mostly carnivore, kind of carnivore, meat heavy, keto, but I know I've never been this healthy. And I mentioned I'm 46 years old. I know I'm a lot healthier now than when I was in my 20s.
Okay, that's awesome. It's an incredible story you're telling us about your autoimmune diseases and they're not flaring up anymore. So that's really cool. So how did you implement the carnivore? Just by changing up what you were doing with keto? So then how did you get involved in the carnivore community?
Well, I think, again, the 2 years ago, I'm not even sure if I've heard of the carnivore diet. I just was doing some experimentation. And when I realized that my stomach aches went away, it was so crazy. I started just reading and reading and reading and, found out that there were people in this world that only ate meat. And my blood work is great. It's, my doctor's thrilled. He kind of rolls his eyes at me sometimes, but he's a great doctor, and he's thrilled. And, I realize now that these things that we have always been told we need, we not only don't need, but we probably shouldn't have in most cases. So I just started, I'd followed a couple of people on YouTube, Dr. Baker being one of them, and then he started the MeatRx platform, and I'm like, whoa, there's people out there like me. And it's really cool because you can't have this conversation with most people right now, because then it gets into, you're gonna die, you're gonna this, you're gonna that. I'm going, okay, put the Pop-Tart down and we'll talk, okay? So I love the carnivore community, just support. And I tell all my clients that too, like, you got to get involved. The like-minded people, I think it's so important.
It is very important. So you, do you still exercise quite a bit, or I know you did, and you're medication free now?
I've been medication free for over 5 years, completely. As far as exercise, and I guess this will go back to, something a steak probably can't fix, maybe diet can't fix. Prior to keto, way prior to keto, one of my things was exercising. I mean, I was in the gym all the time. I had to be, because it would help compensate for my binge eating as well. And I ran, not jogged, I ran 75 to 100 miles a week. I ran no less than 8 miles per day, sometimes 15. And no, it's not fun. I mean, there comes a point where you get the endorphins where you kind of don't want to stop, but I realize now how unhealthy it was. And then I've had back problems for a long time, and it's degenerative, and I have degenerative spine disease. So I would work through, I didn't care. Being thin back then was more important than first being healthy. And being thin for me was, it didn't matter. I would work through the pain. I would deal with the pain. But then my spine started to break. Pieces would break off and discs would come out beyond the spinal cord. And actually next Monday, a week from today, I will be having my 20th spine surgery. So I'm fused from C3 through C7. I got to think about this. L3 through S1, and I've had to have a lot of redos. I've got permanent nerve damage. So I don't exercise. I walk when I can. And I think walking is good for my back, all that kind of stuff. But I don't so much do it I don't do it at all for a weight thing anymore, which is kind of amazing for me. I do it because it's the best I can do and it's good for me. So there are people out there, and I've tried resistance bands and stuff, but my arm just can't handle it. If I do a little workout today, even if it's like a beginner easy one, for the next 2 days, I can't use my arm. So hopefully next Monday, maybe they'll fix something over there. I don't know. So I think exercise is great for you, but if you can't or can't exercise much, 95% at least is what goes in your mouth.
True. I agree with that. And can you tell me what you eat in a day currently? What, like how much meat, or how, what do you eat twice a day, once a day?
So one of the things I found, and again, this is, tons of experimenting. I've done it every which way, because I believe that, I need to find what's right for me. I don't need to be, I'm not looking to be crowned world's best carnivore, world's strictest carnivore. I'm going to do what's best for me. So I've tried it every which way. And I had to stop putting restrictions on myself about a year ago. So for me, I think we all kind of fall into a routine. Typically, I try to eat, I'll kind of start with at the end of dinner. I try to eat dinner by 4 o'clock. It depends on what my day looks like. And then I don't eat breakfast. I never have. The reason I don't eat breakfast is not because I'm just trying for this major fast, but I'm just never hungry in the morning. So I try to listen to, what my body's telling me, never want to eat in the morning. So usually around somewhere between 11 and 1, I'll have coffee I like to put an egg yolk and some butter in my coffee. I need to eat a very high fat diet. I've tried it every which way. So I'm still keto, but with only animal products. So I'm very high fat carnivore. And so I usually have that. I count that as a meal because an egg yolk, some butter or ghee, you know, whatever. And that just keeps me happy until 3, 4 o'clock where I will just have some meat and fat. Now, I would say I'm like the only carnivore in the world. I don't like ribeyes. I'm not a fan of fatty meat, just never have been. So I eat the leaner cuts, and I eat probably less than most, but again, not for restricting. I'm just listening. I've finally learned to stop when I'm no longer hungry. So I might eat a pound of meat a day, or probably most days less. Typically leaner meat, but then I just cook it in a lot of fat, pour the fat over it. And so typically those would be my 2 meals, if you count the coffee as a meal. Because yes, I still drink coffee. That's one of my 2 non-carnivore things. Typically 2. But like I was just traveling for the last 2.5 weeks. I just got home 2 days ago. I was up, stopping and visiting people. So there were some days like I cooked breakfast for everybody, or we ate breakfast. But because I think it's important to mix things up too. But typically when I'm home, it's just those 2. And every once in a while I feel snacky, so I make a carnivore snack mix, and I try not to snack very often. But I learned that for me, with eating disorders, if I tell myself, no, you cannot have that, it will consume my head until I overeat. And so I've given myself permission to have whatever I want, whenever I want. What that has helped me do is take those restrictions off. So Robyn, you can have whatever you want. I don't care. Pizza, ice cream, you can have it if you want it, but I don't want it anymore. And it makes it so much easier so that I don't do it.
Yeah, that sounds good. So do you include dairy?
Limited amounts. Some people consider eggs and butter dairy. I do eggs and butter. Some people don't consider it dairy. I do ghee, which I know is technically maybe not dairy. I don't know if I get all the milk fat out. I have no problem with dairy per se. And like for clients, I mean, if they're okay with dairy, that's fine. I used heavy cream for a while until one day I realized it was upsetting my stomach. And this was recent. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And then the next time I tried it, just a little bit in my coffee, upset stomach. I'm like, okay, I guess I don't do heavy cream anymore. And I'm cool with that. Cheese, I have a tendency to overdo cheese. So I have no problem with cheese, except that I have a problem with cheese. I can't, doesn't make me feel bad. I can't eat some of the cheese. I'm fine with eating none of the cheese or all of the cheese. That's the eating disorder thing. We're very all or nothing. So that's something that I have to be very conscious of, where maybe some other people don't.
I see.
Now I'll do like blue cheese or maybe some gorgonzola on my steak every once in a while if I want to be rebellious, and that's fine. That I won't overeat. But give me a pound of Kerrygold, Ballyshannon cheese, and it's probably going to be gone. So
I understand. I love cheese. If I can't have too much or it just goes crazy, I'll eat the whole thing too. Mostly goat cheese. I like that too much. And it tends
for me, the carnivore diet it's very, in its basic form, it's so darn simple. It's like, the harder part is that relationship with food that I think will always be, I don't even want to say struggle anymore, because it doesn't feel like a struggle, but it's always there. And the most important thing I think that anybody can do is heal their relationship with food. Food is fuel. It should be enjoyable. That way it's sustainable. Steak and eggs, I think I can deal with that. It's very enjoyable. That's why other diets don't work, because they're gross for the most part. But it still is fuel. It's not entertainment. It's not, it used to be, people eat because they're happy. They eat because they're sad. They eat to celebrate, and finding other ways to celebrate. And I always say to people, especially people who are married or whether you go out with friends, my husband and I, if we would say, you want to do something tonight? Oh yeah, where do you want to go eat? It was an automatic. It wasn't like, yeah, let's go for a walk. Let's go see a movie. It's where you want to go eat. And that food has just, I have such a, I guess that's another benefit of carnivore. I have such a better relationship with food. And I want to put the proper nourishment in me so that I feel good and I can do the other fun stuff.
That makes perfect sense. So you're a coach on MeatRx and everybody can find you there. Can you tell me your coaching strategy?
Well, I was a ketogenic coach for a long time. Now at Carnivore, added carnivore and fasting to that. I think it is basic. People as human beings at the most basic form, there's a lot of things that are the same for people. Like you shouldn't be eating sugars or grains or starches, no, processed oils. That's kind of where the commonality ends for people. I have so many different people with so many different issues, and it depends why they're coming to me. Very few though, are here simply for weight loss. When I talk to somebody who's like, look, I just want to lose 20 pounds, that's all. There's going to be one strategy, and they may be able to get away with certain things that somebody with coming to me with, I have SIBO and Candida and, serious issues, or I have a lot of clients with mental health issues. They're here to try to heal serious mental health issues, whether it's depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar. And it's amazing the success that they have on carnivore. Clients literally with their doctors, their psychiatrists, getting off of medications that they've been on for years. So my approach is very, after the no sugar, no grain, no starch stuff, and no processed garbage, very, very individualized. It depends why you're here. And we also have to tailor the diet to your lifestyle. If you try to fit your lifestyle around a diet, you're probably not going to be successful for long. So I try to fit the diet, very practical, fit it into their lifestyle, whether it's carnivore, whether it's fasting, all that, so that it works their life. And one of the things I always tell clients, the first thing, if they have an issue with food, which most people do, whether it's addiction, just a bad relationship, that's going to be probably the hardest thing to do to heal that, but it's also the most important. So we definitely work on that. And then tailor it to them. If you're like me and you don't like ribeyes, I know that's a bad thing to say here. I don't like them. If I had to eat ribeyes all the time, I don't think I'd last either. So it's not about what you do eat, it's about what you don't eat. And, we're going to find there's enough food out there that you do like, and we're going to tailor this to whatever it is that you need. So very, very individualized, and a lot of people really just need the support. So.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. So your success story is amazing. You have come a long way, and I know it'll help a lot of people to hear all about it. Is there anything that you want to add? And they can find you on MeatRx as a coach if they want to come and book you. I know that.
Yeah, and also Instagram, and I think you're going to put the links in the show notes. Instagram, I have a YouTube channel, which is just under my name. I have some, Facebook groups and pages and such. I guess the only thing I want to add, and I was thinking about this over the last few days, and so I actually just put up a YouTube video on this morning. For anybody watching this, I'm never going to tell you not to follow your doctor's advice, but I will say, if your doctor gives you a lifetime sentence like I got, there's nothing we can do about this because everybody knows you can't fix this, you can't cure that, don't accept it. Is changing your diet going to fix everything? Maybe, but chances are no, it's not going to fix my breaking spine. But I do know I'd be in a lot more pain if I was still eating a crappy diet, because I was. So it's helped the pain. But I mean, the next week going to be 20 spine surgeries. I take no pain medication. It hurts, but I can deal with it. So don't accept a life sentence. Just don't. Keep searching. whether it's a carnivore diet, a keto diet, some other something. Don't accept that this is normal, because I don't believe this is normal. Being in pain, being sick, it might be what most people are right now, but it's not normal. Don't accept that. And if you need help, reach out, you know, whether it's to me, Tracy, there's tons of coaches on there. And I just want to let people, I want to spread the word, because nobody else is going to do it except us.
That's true. It's a journey, and you learn as you go. And I'm the same way. I know when I went to the doctor, I didn't really get the help I needed, because really it came down to I was in charge of what needed to be done. So I had to figure out what I needed to do. But thank you so much, Robyn. It's been great talking to you.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Okay. We'll see you.
All right. Bye, Tracy. Thank you.
Bye.